Hi everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Heart Profit. My name is Christopher Palmer. I'm the Executive Director of the Jennifer Sue Delgado Memorial Foundation. This is a nonprofit organization that I started in late 2021 in honor and memory of a little girl that was killed on June 6, 1988 in San Antonio, Texas. I'll tell you more about Jennifer in just a moment, but first I'd like to say that Heart Profit is a show where we talk to nonprofits here in the San Antonio and South Texas area. There are thousands of great organizations helping people, animals, the elderly, for various reasons here in our community, and I hope to talk to as many of them as we can. Now, in this first edition, we're going to talk about Jennifer Sue Delgado. She was born on August 24th, 1979. Now, I first met Jennifer in the first grade at Westwood Terrace Elementary. We were in first grade and second grade together. At the end of our third grade year, just days after we had finished school for the summer, Jennifer was with her mother in a laundromat on San Antonio's west side near Lackland Air Force Base. It was the evening of June 6, 1988, approximately 7:30 p.m. Jennifer and her mother, as I said, were in a laundromat. A man comes in, he puts some money in the machine, vending machine. Nothing comes out. He gets angry, strikes the machine, and then he pulls out a knife and he stabs Jennifer and her mother. Jennifer runs across the street to her house. They live just right across the street from the laundromat. She collapses in her front yard and she doesn't regain consciousness. They rush her to Wilford Hall Medical Center, which was right across the highway, just minutes from where she lived. Unfortunately, they were unable to save Jennifer. It wasn't until I was out of high school that I began to think more and more about Jennifer. You know, at that point, I had already graduated high school, was starting college, and I started to think about all the things that Jennifer was never going to be able to do. And so we're in the year 2001, and it's 13 years after Jennifer had been killed. And so I gathered as many of our classmates as I could, and by that point, the laundromat had been demolished, and Security Service Federal Credit Union had bought the property and made it into a drive-through. So on the evening of June 6th, 2001, 13 years after she was killed, we had a candlelight vigil out there, and I invited the media out there, and most of them showed up. They ran stories on it, and I was hoping that it would maybe generate some new leads as to, who may have done this. Unfortunately, it did not, but it was nice seeing our classmates again talking about Jennifer and just remembering, the good times we had with her. So many years go by, and then we're in 2015, and I wanted to, again, try to do something to bring the story back to the news, but also I wanted some sort of permanent memorial there at the site. So I contacted Security Service Federal Credit Union and told them the story about Jennifer and asked if I could maybe place a small stone marker or something right there on the property. They respectfully declined. So a few more years go by, and we're in 2021, and by that point I'm very determined to do something. So I started thinking of different ways that we could honor her memory, and I came up with a memorial street designation where we don't change the name of the street. We would just have a couple of signs on the street where it happened and have it designated as the Jennifer Sue Delgado Memorial Way. So I started raising money. Classmates, friends, the media picked up the story and got some donations that way, and was finally able to raise enough funds to submit the application. Now, while I was doing that, I got in touch with the principal at Westwood Terrace Elementary, and he had no idea about, the story of Jennifer. Obviously, he wasn't, the principal at that time when I was at that school. So they were opening up a new wing in the 2021-2022 school year, and I asked him if we could place a memorial plaque inside the new wing, and he was like, of course. So, you know, we had his support. So again, started raising funds. We raised enough funds for the plaque, and that was put in October of 2021. And right around that time, we had finally raised enough funds to submit our application to the city of San Antonio. Fast forward a little bit into January of 2022, my request goes before City Council. It was approved, but with COVID delays and supply issues and things of that nature, there were a few delays along the way. So we're fast forwarding 6 more months, and it worked out to where the signs were installed about a week before the anniversary of Jennifer's death. And so it worked out to where on June 6th, 2022, 34 years to the day that Jennifer was taken from us, we gathered once again and we unveiled the memorial signs, and it was very nice to have a permanent marker so people can see and know who she was and what happened to her. And so in late 2021, I started the Jennifer Sue Delgado Memorial Foundation. This nonprofit, you know, it's twofold. One, we want to raise funds to give college scholarships to high school students in the area. And we want to support the elementary school that Jennifer and I attended. So our goal every year is to raise enough funds to give at least one college scholarship and to be able to buy each student at Westwood Terrace Elementary a book to take home at the end of the school year to read over the summer. And so this past spring, in May of 2022, we gave out one $500 scholarship to a John Jay High School graduate. She's going to be attending UTSA. And we were able to purchase and give each student at Westwood Terrace Elementary a book to take home and read over the summer. And talking with the principal, he's been very supportive, and he said the kids were just so excited to get these books and to see the plaque as they walked through the halls, and they ask, well, who was Jennifer? So there's a conversation between the teachers and the students, and I feel a huge accomplishment that, you know, Jennifer is going to be remembered, you know, not just by her friends and family, but by people that didn't even know her.
And today marks 34 years since Jennifer Sue Delgado was killed at a laundromat on San Antonio's south side. And one of the 8-year-old girl's classmates has been doing everything he can to keep her story alive. KENS 5's Zach Briggs shows us how.
Through the decades, Chris Palmer's memories of his second-grade classmate, Jennifer Sue Delgado, have faded.
I can't even remember the sound of her voice, but I remember through class pictures, you know, this little Mexican-style dress that she wore. I just remember her being this quiet, you know, sweet little girl.
He also remembers June 7th, 1988, a day after Delgado was stabbed to death at a laundromat across the street from her home.
I didn't know what to think. I knew she was gone, but at age 8, I didn't realize that this is it. Her life is over. She's not going to grow up.
The senseless murder of this innocent 8-year-old girl has remained a cold case for the past 34 years.
I still can't understand today how someone can do that, you know, to an adult, but much less how can they even do this to an innocent child. There we go.
Palmer raised thousands of dollars to make this Memorial Street designation a reality. The signage, a symbol of the never-ending quest for justice.
I needed something here on earth that I can see, that other people can see, to have some closure for myself, for our classmates.
And so was born the Jennifer Sue Delgado Memorial Foundation, a way for Palmer to keep the memory of his old classmate alive while helping youth reach their dreams.
Being the first recipient to receive this scholarship means so much to me. It touches me deeply that I can honor her memory in a more deeper and profound way.
I just hope in terms of the signs that people that drive by take a moment to find out who Jennifer was and get a greater appreciation of life for their children's lives if they have any, and just be nicer to each other.
On the south side, Zach Briggs, KENS 5.
Meanwhile, San Antonio police say they've exhausted all leads in this cold case.
So if you have some time and you want to know more about who Jennifer Sue Delgado was, please visit jennifersuedelgado.org. There's pictures, a lot of news stories over the years that have been covering this. Information that, if you want to contact to give information, maybe you know some information about the case. And if you want to donate, obviously, we need the support. We hope to keep this going every year and just grow bigger and bigger to be able to give out more scholarships and continuing to support the students at Westwood Terrace Elementary. And now here's a few scenes from the next edition of Heart Prophet. What was your father's drive for wanting to start the Advocates?
His parents were migrant workers. He and his siblings worked in the farms, like picking cotton and picking, I believe it was grapes, is what he explained to me. So they were young kids living in farms, basically, living hand to mouth on what they could do on a daily basis as far as the work. And so he grew up in poverty. He totally understands what it is to be a child who's hungry, who doesn't have enough food to eat. And so that's what drove him.
We hope to see you on the next edition of Heart Prophet. I'm Christopher Palmer. See you next time.